Welcome to the SportsHeads NFL Betting Podcast, sponsored by RedZoneSports.bet. Want to know which way to bet in the NFL this weekend? We'll give you our inside tips and all that's hip in American football. I'm Tony Fennell with my co-host John Stone, and we're here to take you through every game this week. Right, here we go. Week 5, Game 1. New England Patriots at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is it me, John, or do the Patriots look like they've got a Super Bowl hangover? I mean, seriously. I say Tampa look good for the win, mate. We've got a Patriots team that are on the edge. What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, Vegas still loves them. They're giving 5.5 on the road, 55 over/under. I like those numbers. Look, New England's defense is who's got the hangover. They are god awful.
Terrible.
Last in the league in the against the pass. They've given up 617 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 70% completions in the last 2 games against 2 quarterbacks that you wouldn't expect it from.
Yeah.
A rookie and a guy that we've all thought was on his way out, Cam Newton. Tampa Bay looked great last week. Jameis Winston in particular, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Giants. Running game still a problem for them. Jacquizz Rodgers is only averaging 41 yards a game, but against New England's defense, he might be able to rack up some. No injuries really to talk about for New England. Edelman, of course, still out. Tampa Bay has some injuries on defense, but I really think this is going to be a shootout between Winston and Brady no matter what.
You got it.
I'm going with New England. I just can't see New England 2-3. I don't know.
Really?
New England, I'm not going to give them the points, and I'm going to take the over.
Week 5, Game 2, Buffalo Bills at Cincinnati Bengals. Right then. It's been a pretty difficult season, actually, to call games at the moment. And I've got to be honest, this one could be a close one. What are your thoughts on the game, matey?
I'm a little surprised the way Buffalo has been playing
right?
recently. Well, they go down, take care of business at Atlanta. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Bengals, what? You win one game against Ohio and suddenly you get 3 points at home? Or give 3 points at home, sorry. 39 over/under, that's about right. Buffalo looking great. Their defense is terrific. Of course, they have Carolina's previous defensive coordinator as their head coach. Tyrod Taylor doing just enough to get it done. Rushing game was very good against Atlanta. Bengals, hey, they finally found a team that could beat in Cleveland. But I will say this, Andy Dalton, not my favorite, but he's really doing well. Last 2 games, 80% completion rate, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Nothing really to talk about on injuries except Buffalo is without Brandon Tate and Jordan Matthews, 2 of their wide receivers. They don't throw it that much anyway. Cincinnati center TJ Johnson is questionable. Linebacker Jordan Evans. Bills are 3-1 for the first time in 6 years.
That's pretty outstanding.
I think that's a big deal. I think they're going to keep it going. I like the way they're working right now. Buffalo, Bengals are not going to go with the spread and the under.
Week 5, Game 3, New York Jets at Cleveland Browns. What can you say about the New York Jets? Seriously, they own New York at the moment, and prior to the first game, matey, they were 1,000-1 to win the Super Bowl, and let me tell you, I wish I'd have put a few quid on that bunch. Anyway, are they about to run out of steam, my friend?
Well, they won't run out against Cleveland. Cleveland somehow
is that a guaranteed win or what?
No, it's never a guaranteed
Gotcha.
win. Cleveland is giving 2 at home. That's okay, I guess. 39 over/under, that's about right. Look, the Jets, a lot better than what we thought they were going to be.
Time.
Who thought they were going to have 2 wins at this point of the season? I'd still give them about 9.99 to win the Super Bowl, but they're getting there. Look, it's defense. Defense is doing it. The good thing about the Jets against Jacksonville was they had a really great running game. Bilal Powell and Elijah McGee, their running backs, combined for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. That allowed McCown, the quarterback, to just manage the game, which is really all you want him to do.
Yeah.
Browns, nothing to talk about either on offense or defense. Rushing game, 17 for 45, 2.6 yards per rush against the Bengals.
Deshaun Kaiser, terrible.
The kid's not ready for prime time, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Injuries, Jets are thin at tight end, and on defense, offensive tackle Brandon Shell is doubtful. Cleveland has holes all over the place. They're like Swiss cheese. End of the day, New York Jets, I'm going to give it to them. They need to watch this game. It could be a trap game. They have New England coming down there next weekend. They better just take care of business this one. But I'm going to take it New York Jets. Cleveland, I'm not going to give them the spread and under.
Carolina Panthers at Detroit Lions. Right, talk about humble pie, matey. I've been slagging Newton off all season, and what does he go and do? He only goes and proves he's got what it takes. I'll be quiet now, and you can tell me how the game's going to play out.
Oh, come on, man. I don't think anyone on earth, including Cam Newton, thought he was going to have that
He was
game.
absolutely awesome against New England.
That's a defense to recover on, I can tell you that.
Right.
Lions giving 3 at home. That's pretty good. 44 over under. This is actually going to be a real interesting game. You have 2 superb defenses right now, at least at this time of the season. Both teams are allowing 17.5 points per game. Detroit looked good against Minnesota. They didn't score a lot, but they didn't have to. They had a great defense. 3 turnovers, including 2 fumbles in the third quarter that led to 11 points, helped them beat Minnesota.
What about our boy Stafford?
Stafford, he was good enough. 19 to 31, 209 yards. Good sign for them. Amir Abdullah, their running back, 94 yards and a touchdown. He is
not too shabby.
Potentially injured for this game. That could be an issue for them. Look, Detroit is 18-8 at home since 2014. Can you believe Carolina's 3-1? We were laughing at them, but
yes.
I think in this one, a home game, Detroit's motivated. I'm going to take Detroit. I'm going to give them the spread, and I'm going to take the under.
Woof. Game 5, San Francisco 49ers at Indianapolis Colts. It was a bad day at the office for San Fran, matey, over the weekend. Is it going to get any better?
Well,
be honest.
Indianapolis makes everyone better. How they're giving 1.5 points at home, I don't know. 43 over under, that maybe even a little high. I don't see it. 49ers, they fell flat on their face against Arizona. How you kick a field goal in overtime and then you let them come right back down and score a touchdown, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty outrageous.
Yeah, Hoyer was no good. Hardly a rushing game. Carlos Hyde, 16 for 68. Hey, they didn't respect Hoyer. They just stacked the line. I think the Colts will do the same. They have a decent defense, but not very good. Colts, what can you say? Jacoby Brissett, 16 of 29, 1 touchdown, 1 awful pick 6 interception, 3 sacks. Rushing, no real help there at all. Defense did get some sacks and interceptions, but 194 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Nothing really to talk about as far as injuries for either team. They don't need any more handicaps. At the end of the day, I'm still looking for San Francisco to win their first game. They got to win one at some point, and Indy's already won a game. So San Francisco, no on the spread for Indianapolis, obviously, and I'll take the under.
All right. Week 5, Game 6, Tennessee Titans at Miami Dolphins, mate. Shocking performance over the weekend for Miami. And good old Blighty, by the way. Bottom line is, are we seeing the real Jay Cutler? And did Miami make a huge mistake signing up this Bears cast-off, John? Did they?
Well, they brought him back out of the booth. It worked for Robert Redford in the natural. I guess it's not going to work twice. Tennessee giving 2.5 on the road. I guess it's just because the Miami Dolphins offense is so terrible.
Shocking.
43 over under. Okay, fine. Titans were blown out. Not much to talk about. Mariota's hamstring, that's going to be an issue. You've got to watch that. What was I talking about? There's a problem with quarterbacks running the ball.
Yeah.
First time a Titans quarterback has scored 2 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns in a game since Steve McNair. And look what happens. He goes out. So they gave up passing touchdowns, running touchdowns. They gave up yards. It wasn't even worth talking about that game. It's a bit of an aberration, although their defense is really not showing giving you much to work with. Dolphins, what can you say? Their offense was god-awful. If you don't have Jay Ajayi rushing the ball, 12 of 46 against New Orleans, suddenly great defense. Cutler is not going to win it for you, so they're going to be in trouble. Almost a 10-minute differential in time of possession between the two teams. Injuries, Mariota's questionable. We'll see if he can get back.
Really?
Miami has holes on both lines and in their secondary. What's it going to be? I think it's going to be Miami. Miami's at home. Their defense, their offense can.
Hang on a minute. Are you drinking, mate?
Not yet, but soon. Miami, their offense, I think, can do something against Tennessee's defense. So no on the spread, obviously. I'll take the under.
Wow. Week 5, Game 7, Los Angeles Chargers at New York Giants. Right. Without doubt, the biggest shock in the NFL is the Giants sitting at 0-4. I've asked you before, John, McAdoo or McAdon't, and right now I'm even wondering if this guy's going to make it to the end of the bloody season. Anyway, make some sense of this, John, please.
Well, it's the Ophir Bowl. Both teams are winless. Giants giving 3.5 at home. I can take that. 44.
I mean, what is going on there?
They knew going in, they don't have a running game. They have never established one. They were going to live on passing and their defense.
Yeah.
That isn't going to work. I mean, unless you're the San Francisco 49ers many years ago, and even then, they at least had a running game. You're just not getting it done. Look, you know how bad their running game is? You know who their leading rusher is? I'm sorry, their second leading rusher? Manning. Their quarterback,
Yeah.
3.25 yards per carry.
Ouch.
That's not at all going to happen.
That's not New York numbers.
That's not New York numbers. It shouldn't be any team's numbers. Chargers have been playing really close games. They lost a close one to Philadelphia. Rivers was much better against them. 22-38, 347, 2 touchdowns. But defense gave up 214 yards rushing to Philadelphia. They won't do that to the Giants because I don't know who runs the ball. Injuries, a lot of holes on offense for the Chargers, including their running back. Nothing significant for the Giants. Look, Giants got to win at some point. Chargers are awful on the road since 2014. I'm going to take the G-Men. Go Giants!
Come on, Giants.
Chargers, yeah, I'll take the spread, and I'll take the under.
Week 5, Game 8, Arizona Cardinals at the Philadelphia Eagles. Mate, when it comes to Philly, they're scraping wins every single game. But you know what? They're getting it done. Will their run come to an end on Sunday, my friend?
I don't think so. They're
Really?
very, very good at home. I do think them giving 6.5 at home is a little high. I know the Cardinals are struggling right now, but I don't think that's a viable amount. 45 over under, that's right. Cardinals, look, their offense was terrible against San Francisco, who had given up a ton of points and yards to the Rams the week before.
Yeah.
But Carson Palmer, he looked good-ish, 33 of 51, 357. He only got a touchdown in overtime, but he was sacked 6 times. Hard to throw the ball on your ass. And they have no rushing game, 22 rushes for 51 yards.
That's not good enough.
Eagles, yeah, not good at all. Eagles, Carson Wentz, he's another one of those managing kind of players. 17 of 31, 242, good running game. That helps them a lot. LeGarrette Blount, 16 for 136 against the Chargers. Passing defense is a little suspect. I think Mr. Palmer can make some inroads there, but injury-wise, Arizona has some holes on offensive and defensive lines. Philly has some defensive holes, but Philly is 16-9 at home since 2014 and 7-3 since last year. Wentz, what can you say? 6 touchdowns against 2 interceptions, but 12 sacks.
Ouch.
Philly at home, I'm going to take them. Philadelphia Eagles are not going to beat that spread. Over.
Week 5, Game 9, Jacksonville Jaguars at Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm seeing the Pittsburgh team on a bit of a roll here, matey. Big Ben's firing the cannon, and even Le'Veon Bell. I always get his name wrong, by the way. What is that? Le'Veon Bell has decided to show up. Which way do you see it going?
I like the Steelers here. They're giving 8.5 at home. That's, I think, a little favorable for them, given the Jaguars can perhaps show up again. I mean, I'm calling them Jacksonville and Hyde this season because you never know what team's going to show up. Every other game, they look like world beaters, or they can't beat themselves.
Yeah.
Or they can only beat themselves. Blake Bortles last week against the Jets was terrible. 15 of 35, 140 yards. Rushing game was good. LeGarrette Blount and Chris Ivory combined for 175 yards. Their rushing defense, however, was terrible. 256, a couple of big plays made into that, and 2 touchdowns against the Jets. Steelers, what do you say? I think they bounced back very well after their loss in Chicago.
This is a team who knows how to grind a win.
Absolutely. They are a professional football team.
Yeah.
Big Ben, good enough to get it done. 18 of 32, 16, and a touchdown. Le'Veon Bell, as you said, came back to life. 35 rushes for 144 yards and 2 TDs. I like that. I think that's going to continue. Jacksonville, their wide receiver, Jalen Strong, is out. That can be a bit of a sticking point for them. Pittsburgh has got a couple of holes on defense, but they'll make it work. At the end of the day, 19-6, Pittsburgh at home since 2014. This will not be loss number 7. Pittsburgh takes it. Steelers, I'm not going to give them that spread, though. It's a little too big. Over.
Week 5, Game 10, Baltimore Ravens at the Oakland Raiders. Not a game I'm really looking forward to be honest with you. But you know what? This might be a good old-fashioned NFL brawl fest. Oakland needs a win, and the Ravens need a prayer, to be honest. What are you thinking, mate?
Well, Oakland's giving 4 at home, 40 over-under. I'll take that. Look, both teams looked terrible last week. Ravens worse, and I'm not sure what problems the Ravens have that can be solved right now. Their offense is terrible. I think Flacco needs to retire at the end of this year.
Yeah, Flacco's getting hit. It's not good.
Yeah, the defense gave up 173 rushing yards to Pittsburgh. Alex Collins, a bright spot, their running back. He did get 82 yards on 9 rushes. Not bad. Let's see if they can maybe build around him for the time being. Oakland, another tough loss at Denver, another offensive disappearance Derek Carr, 10 of 18, 143 and a touchdown, but then he went out with a back injury in the third quarter. Marshawn Lynch was nowhere to be seen. 9 rushes, 12 yards.
What do you think's going on there?
Team rushed for 15-24. Well, I'm not sure. They stacked the box clearly, but it looked like he just wasn't ready to take this team on. Baltimore, no significant injuries. Oakland is still without Michael Crabtree and Derek Carr. We're going to see that back may or may not work for him. They do have E.J. Manuel as a backup who didn't do too badly against Denver, but we'll see if that's going to work. That said, I think the problems for the Ravens are much worse than the problems for Oakland. Oakland will take this. The Raiders, yes, on the spread and the under.
Week 5, Game 11, Seattle Seahawks at Los Angeles Rams. The Rams look like a team on a mission on Sunday, got to be honest. And as for Seattle, they blew out the Colts with an impressive 46-18 win. This game could be a cracker.
I think so. I think this is going to be a very good game. The Rams are giving 2.5 at home. 47 over/under. I like both those. Seahawks looked good against Indy. I look good against Indy.
Nice.
I mean, there's not much to do. But very weak on the run. Number 27 in the league, giving up 134 yards per game this season. See, hear that? Jeremy Gurley, running back for the Rams. Russell Wilson was very efficient. 21 of 26, 295, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions last week, and 1 rushing touchdown. And rushing by committee gave them 194 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Not too shabby.
See if they can do that again. The Rams do have some issues as far as stopping the run. Rams, what can you say? That was a very impressive win at Dallas. Jared Goff looked solid. 21 of 36, 255, 2 touchdowns. And Jeremy Gurley, running back, one of my new favorites. He 23 of 121 rushing, 7 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. He was the best running back on that field compared to both Ezekiel Elliott and Alfred Morris for Dallas. Seattle running backs Chris Carson and C.J. Prosise are out. Who cares? They can't run the ball anyway. Defensive end Cliff Averill is questionable. That could be an issue. Nobody really out for the Rams. Nobody at all, actually. Rams, is this going to be a letdown after the big win at Dallas? I don't think so. They don't like Seattle. Seattle doesn't like them. I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to say yes on the spread, and I'm going to take the over.
Week 5, Game 12, Green Bay Packers at Dallas Cowboys. One name, Aaron Rodgers. You can't stop him. So, does Dallas have a hope?
Absolutely.
They do?
Dallas giving 2 at home. At least Vegas thinks they have hope. 52.5 over/under. I agree with both of those. Yes, you're absolutely right, Tony. Aaron Rodgers, #1 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Outrageous.
Check these out. 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 1,146 yards passing. Ridiculous. Defense, however, is still problematic. 29 overall. Number 31 against the run, giving up 111 yards. You hear that, Ezekiel Elliott and Alfred Morris? Dallas, their D is struggling, but they do have some names coming back on the defensive line, so hopefully that'll give them some help. Gave up big numbers against the Rams, 35 points, 410 yards overall. They're averaging 31 points, giving up 31 points per game in the last 3. Good signs were Dak Prescott looked good against the Rams, 3 touchdowns. Running back between Ezekiel Elliott and Alfred Morris gave them 161 yards and a touchdown. Maybe some competition is what Mr. Elliott needs to get himself motivated.
Hey, I totally agree.
Green Bay wide receiver Devontae Adams is doubtful. Running backs Jamal Williams and Ty Montgomery are also questionable. Their running game is questionable, so who cares? Dallas linebacker Sean Lee is still inactive. You know what? Honestly, Dallas needs this win. I think you're going to see them very, very motivated. I think Green Bay is a little one-dimensional, even though that one dimension is Mr. Rodgers. I'm actually going to take Dallas. I do not think that the Packers will beat the spread, although I do believe this will be a very, very close game, obviously. And I'm going to take the over.
Week 5, Game 13, Kansas City Chiefs at Houston Texans. Massive win for Houston on Sunday, blowing out the Titans 57-14. But you know what though, mate? Any given Sunday, you know the saying, Kansas or Houston.
You know what? Kansas City giving 1.5 points on the road. I agree with that. They do look that good. 47 over/under, not bad. Kansas City, they pulled out a great win Monday night. They outscored Washington 12-3 in the fourth quarter and played very good defense throughout. Alex Smith, very solid, 293 and a touchdown, though he was sacked 4 times. Kareem Hunt kept it moving. That was the big question I had in that game, and he proved himself. 21 rushes for 101 yards.
Listen, this kid's a superstar this year.
I think he's going to be a great running back for a long time, knock on wood. And their rookie kicker, Harrison Butker, missed his first one, and I said, ha, ha, ha. And then he made the next 3, including the game winner, the little bastard. For Houston, quarterback Deshaun Watson is looking like a star in the making right now. 70% completion rate, 6 touchdowns, 584 yards against New England and Tennessee's arguably bad defenses in the last 2 games. Running back by committee looked good against Tennessee, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. D is also looking very, very good right now. Held Tennessee's running backs to 36 yards and picked off Mariota twice last time. This is going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a really tough game, and I think it's going to be a big, big test for everything Kansas City's trying to do. Some questions for them as far as injuries are concerned. Some questions for Kansas City on both lines. Houston wide receiver Braxton Miller is inactive. Houston has a middle of the range rushing defense. Let's see how that's going to stand up against Kareem Hunt. But I am going to take Houston. They're at home. They're motivated. I like this kid, Deshaun Watson. Hey, Tom Savage's agent, are you chewing on your foot right now? I'm going to take Houston. Texans beat the spread, and I'm going with the over.
Week 5, Game 14, Minnesota Vikings at Chicago Bears. 2 teams in need of a win after a pretty lackluster Sunday for both of those boys. Who'd you see coming out on top, mate?
Well, Minnesota's giving 3 on the road. There's no over-under on this game for some reason. I don't know why. Minnesota, their offense fell to earth against Detroit. Case Keenum looked very ordinary, so did their rushing game. Minnesota's defense, however, was good. They did hold Detroit to 271 total yards, 14 points, and they sacked Matthew Stafford 6 times in that game. Chicago, there's not a lot to like about their offense right now. Jordan Howard was held to 53 yards on 18 carries, 2.9 per carry against the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night last week. Mike Glennon cannot get it done by himself. He did have 218 yards and a touchdown, but he had 2 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles, and that gave a lot of short fields to Green Bay. Injury-wise, running back Dalvin Cook is out for Minnesota. Who cares? They can't run the ball. Chicago, nothing going on there as far as injuries are concerned. These are 2 very good defenses against 2 very bad offenses. This could be a 9-6 game. That said, I'm going to take Minnesota. I am going to pick the Bears to beat the spread, and I'm going to take the under.
All right, that wraps up our show today. See you guys next week. Same time, same place.